Hello, everyone. This is the Sonrisa Dance Podcast. I'm your host, Nick. And have you ever wondered what it's like to grow and help support one of the largest socials here in the LA Orange County area, and then all of a sudden no longer have that and have to start again from ground zero to start a new social and have to build from the ground up again? I asked my friend Shiloh to find out. Hello, everyone, and welcome finally to the return of the Sonrisa Dance Podcast. I couldn't ask to have a better guest to start off. I guess calling it season 2. I don't even know. I don't really care about seasons or episodes anymore. So, but yes, I couldn't ask for a better person to join me. Here with me today is my wonderful friend, a beautiful dancer, and new host to a new social, the Rendezvous Social, that's starting on August 19th, coming up in about a week from this recording. So sneak peek, you know when we recorded this. But yes, everyone, welcome Shiloh.
Hi, thanks for having me on your revamp, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Of podcast. So yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for having me be the first one.
No, yeah, I'm excited, and obviously I wanted to have an opportunity to not only bring this back, but also help shed light or bring more attention and awareness to obviously important things like I did in the past. And what better opportunity than with you starting a new social? But before obviously I get ahead of myself, I just wanted to give a quick introduction. Obviously, as I mentioned, you've been you're a dancer just like I am, and you've been dancing for quite a number of years. Have had some experience with not only just hosting an event, but also running a performance team. I don't know if you want to give just kind of like a brief summary of like how you got started in the Latin dance world or even dancing in general.
Yeah, I don't even know if I said it already, but hi. My name is Shiloh. I've been dancing for a really long time. I did ballet and gymnastics when I was really very, very little, like most little girls, I guess.
My parents trying to get you to do all the things.
Do something, go away. My sister actually took me to some of my first socials when I was like, I think 16. Mm-hmm. I wasn't supposed to be in there. I was introduced younger during my teens, but then in college I was taking ballroom, hip hop, jazz, modern, contemporary, all of that. But within ballroom, that's when I made friends, and of course there's the Latin side of all of the dances. And some of my friends were like, "Hey, let's go to a dance social, and we're gonna actually just dance salsa all night." I'm like, "Okay." So that's what we did, and I fell in love with it, and I started going out all the time. I would be one of those crazy people going out 3 to 4 times a week, driving 2 hours there, driving 2 hours back at the end of the night. So I would say maybe 13, 14 years of dancing.
Okay.
Focusing for the past 8 years in salsa bachata, and then the past like 2-3 years, I would say I've been giving a lot more love to Kiz.
Luckily, we connected very, very early on, and I think, how many years have we even known each other now since we first met? Like probably 8?
I think 8 years.
Probably like around 8 years now?
8 or 9.
This is when it's nice to have social media, because then we can always double check, like, wait, when did we add each other on Facebook?
Friendship Facebook reminder.
Nobody goes on Facebook anymore. It's mostly just, at least for us dancers, it's just a glorified place to just share
Put our photos.
Events. Oh, and photos, yeah. Well, even then, I feel like Instagram is just wherever.
I'm just kidding. I am using it for my social. Please actually go to the event page.
Yes. Well, that's the one place that's actually really important. It's hard to share social stuff and new upcoming events through like Instagram, because you're so limited in what you can do. And it's nice to at least still have Facebook to share upcoming events and things like that. But I was curious to get your perspective on like what are maybe even some of the little things that maybe get overlooked as far as just running a social in general.
So there's definitely a lot to do, especially depending on like the size of the event. If it's a really big one, there's so much that goes into it. So many different people you need to manage, and the amount of stuff you have to do to set it up prior to people showing up. It's a lot of work. There's setup of equipment, so you got like your lights, your speakers, the rooms themselves, making sure that everything is clean. You got fans. If you're going to do raffles, you want raffle tickets, the signs, the proper setups, knowing placement for everything so that you guys have like really good audio, so that lights aren't blinding people all the time. And it's a lot of work. And then whether or not you have the storage for the place at the studio, maybe you're doing an event, it's whether or not you are also taking the time to get it from maybe your garage or a storage unit or something and putting it into your car and doing travel back and forth. But you get the idea. There's a lot of things that go in there, and as somebody who doesn't like to ask for help, I have a high tendency of trying to do it all on my own, which so many of my friends have told me not to do. I'm trying not to do that. I do have some people who are offering to help me, like with having the front desk ran. Other people want to help me promote, which I really appreciate. And then people are willing to come help me set up like the lights and the speakers. And then my DJ is going to have their own equipment, but sometimes you might need to have DJ equipment too, depending on your social. So, because some of them are like, oh yeah, you just get me, you don't get anything else. So it's like, well, crap, I don't have DJ stuff. What's DJ stuff?
The standard event is probably like like a 4-hour event usually. 10 to like 2 is the standard time for most socials. And I believe that's which
my
will
classes
be yours.
are from 8 to 10.
Well, technically
and then
6 hours.
6
including.
hours,
I'm sorry,
if you're including the classes.
Including the classes. So, but that's only the time that we see as far as like showing up to the event, as obviously literally from start and being there till the end. But like how many hours do you usually arrive early, and how many hours do you usually stay late afterwards just to clean up for an event like that?
Well, it also depends on what the studio permits you. So sometimes you're like, all right, once I'm in there, like I gotta get going. I don't have time to talk and chit chat. Back in the day, I had to learn how to be nice about kicking people out because I didn't have security guards. So I didn't want to be mean because, I'm hosting. Anyone who's ever hosted a party or anything, you're like, all right, I'm exhausted. I want to go to bed, but I still got to clean up after all of you. So without saying all that, you just want to be like, oh man, you guys, it's getting a bit late. Would you like to maybe go home so you don't hit traffic?
Yeah. You have to create all these excuses just to get everyone to leave.
You gotta let them know, like, in the nicest way, but also, please go. I have so much I have to do, which always sucks because, like, you're having a good time. They're having a good time. Nobody wants to end something when you're enjoying yourself. And even I'm like, I'd rather chit-chat and maybe, like, try to push it and keep having dances, even though I'm like, well, I actually only have the studio for this much time and I have to get out by a certain time, so I have to clean up and put everything away. And it's like, I'm not allowed, but I still need to make sure everything goes smoothly. So that's one of the things people I think don't realize is there's a lot that goes into not only showing up early to prep, is we also have a limited time usually to clean and then pack everything up and get it out. So that if you all wonder why we're mean sometimes, that's why. It's not because we want to be, or at least I don't want to be.
That kind of stuff is obviously very important. And obviously, clearly with your experience, you see that there's a lot of these little things that are really important to create not only a successful event, but also just one that will run as smoothly as possible and be prepared for just like the next event to come up and stuff. And so, I mean, I kind of even ran a little poll. I'm not sure if you saw the answers that I posted as far as like what goes into not only just making a good social, but also making, like the spot.
Which I did see that poll, and I might be trying to utilize a space at the studio in a way that you guys actually kind of requested. Because I was like, what am I going to do with this room? Because I also do have it, but I can't use it for dancing. It's too small. But I was like, maybe I can turn that into a tiny lounge where everyone can just sit and chat.
Yeah.
So I think that might be an idea.
Actually, I didn't know that you had an I
pay attention.
Yeah. I think what's also very unique and got me personally excited about your social is the fact that it's the first social I've heard of that we're combining two different styles that I haven't seen a social combine, which is bachata and kiz. Because we've seen the combination mostly of salsa and bachata, or kiz and zouk, and obviously zouk and bachata, but we have yet to see a combination of kiz and bachata.
Obviously, we've had an accumulation of all of them at festivals or socials sometimes, but yeah, it's just, for me at least, like, I love all the different styles. I don't like when people say, what is your favorite? Because it kind of, it shifts with the day usually. I can say that I have a very special place in my heart for bachata and kids. I know everyone always talks about connections and whatever, something's so much better in another. My personal preference, I'm not saying that it is, but my preference is that kids' connection is beautiful. I love it. And to me, the music style really speaks to my soul. Like, that's one of the things that drew me in 2014. Like, just listening to the music. Like I said, I didn't dance it, but I just kept listening to music because of the whole situation during then. And even to this day, it hasn't changed. And some people are like, oh, I just vibe with this. This is what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize it was the music first. You're like, this was what I needed. This is what I've been craving. And then you learn how to express it within that style.
Yeah.
So I would say that's why I wanted to make the social, is because I want that kids community to grow.
Yeah.
So I'm combining my other love that I've been very focused on, which is bachata. I'm not trying to kick it to the curb. I still love it. And there's so many salsa places, and I honestly don't have a space at my studio to have everything. So I'm going to be just doing the two. But yeah, I love both, and I hope everyone loves everything. But if you want to go somewhere for some kids and bachata, come to Rendezvous.
Yeah, hey, and it's at least for a lot of us that obviously love bachata and have been curious about kids. This is a great spot to try it out, because you'll have, you know, a chance, an opportunity to go and try out kids. And obviously, if you need in between, go back to the bachata room and, you know, go back to your safe space and experiment. Because obviously, trying a new dance can always be a little scary.
Very.
And very mostly because it's it's intimidating. It's something new for a lot of people.
And it's rough for anyone. I don't want to say it as a sexist thing, but I know, like, men are typically kind of brought up to be more like dominant, machismo kind of. So it's rough to be good maybe in salsa or bachata, and then all of a sudden, like, you're this little weeb that's just starting off. You're a noob at something else and you don't want to be, but it's okay, because you always have to remember to remind yourself, no matter what you're trying, is that you're a beginner at some point.
Yeah.
You don't magically start like at level whatever, like I'm a master already. No, that's not how it works, and it's that journey that makes it really fun. So definitely try it out. I mean, it's growing and it's picking up speed, and a lot of people are really becoming intrigued by it. So I think it's a good time for anyone who has been curious to dip their toes in and see if they like it.
Probably one of the main criticisms I heard a lot early on during those years when we first started it, like 10 years ago almost now at this point, was the fact that it just felt like a very simple, slow dance that didn't feel like it had a lot of challenge or creativity or any of that stuff. And that definitely is not the case anymore.
It is. It's not, but I don't think it was then too. It's just the understanding people were lacking in it.
Yeah.
Whereas,
too new.
It was so new that you didn't understand, and maybe it wasn't being taught at a level that made it easy for people to get what's going on. There's just so many minute things happening. So when you're watching somebody doing like pop and locking or something, you know and understand, having watched creators and choreographers and people doing hip hop, like, oh, there's all these little tiny muscle movements that they're doing. There's so much control.
Oh, yeah.
That is what I think people don't understand yet about kids. There's like the minute movements and the amount of control that is being relayed to follow, and from the follow to your lead. So people were just like, oh, they're holding still, when as within that partnership, there's so much communication. They're having a full-blown conversation that you have no idea, because you're in another room. You just see them there. You don't get to hear it because there's a window.
Yeah.
So they're in their window, but if you join in and come into that room, you're going to understand what is going on in that conversation. And it's a really intense, beautiful conversation.
It's a very deep conversation. And I think this also just goes a little bit into even some of the complaints that I've heard of some of the other dances and why it's sometimes hard to get into kids, is because I feel we're also kind of in a generation of dancers where we're just so in the mindset of like, this needs to look flashy. I need to show like the dancer that I am through my dance. And obviously with larger moving dances like the other main three, which is salsa, bachata, and zouk, obviously there's a lot of movement. There's a lot that's very easily visually apparent, and also very good for videos for people who are trying to upload those kind of things. But that's not so evident in Kiz. Obviously there are tricks and stuff you can do, but the core of the dance is a lot of that minute communication. And I feel like it's something you really have to experience and be a part of to understand. And also it helps to leave that mindset out the door, because it's not really what that dance is about. And if anything, I hope that can help people to grow as dancers, because there's too many, as I feel like camera mode dancers, I guess, constantly in our dance scene.
Yes, and those camera mode dancers have a high tendency of not noticing the person in front of them and how much pain or uncomfortability they may be conveying to them.
Yeah.
So on that note, I would just like to say, like, no matter what style you're doing, you definitely want to be paying attention to your partner. You don't want to... I know everyone wants to be popular in these dance videos. I see some people posting. And that's cool and all. And I'm not necessarily against that, but really take care of the person you're with. Like, that should be applicable to anybody, whether they are a dance partner, they are a life partner. You take care of them, right? You're not gonna just like suddenly shove them real quick or pull their arm. Like, you want to take care of individuals, and so the same should happen for any stranger you're dancing with, because that's a human body. I'm about to say me. Obviously, I've been through some traumas.
Yes.
Just they're not ragdolls, and that also goes for the leads and follows.
Yeah.
So I know, like, people pointedly say, like, oh, the leads hurt me. And I'm like, I am also a lead.
Yeah.
And some of you follows have hurt me.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, obviously there's a large number of leads that starting off, that's the easiest place where obviously some people can force dance moves and stuff. But yeah, obviously the follows are also another half of that conversation, of that connection. And there's definitely been close calls of somebody just throwing their body, and I'm just like, oh, please don't hurt yourself or me together with you.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that goes into just being, a good dancer in general. It's not just having the technique, not just having the musicality, but also, again, being aware of the safety of yourself, your partner, and even those around you.
Being aware of your body, being aware of the mechanics of another person's body, and having that. Or actually, I'm veering slightly, but you want to know what's sexy?
Ooh, tell us.
Ooh. Okay, so when you see a dancer on a video and you're just like, damn, that's hot. So one of those things, if you really think about it, it's just they understand their body. They are connected to it. The movement, the control, all of those things are what's really nice.
Yeah.
And that's what we're drawn to, that confidence. So again, you want to develop that for every style of dance, and that's just going to be conveyed over. So I'm not trying to push this as like, this is the sexy thing to do, let's do it. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it draws people in when you are loving a dance and you give it the effort that it needs.
Yeah, nothing's more attractive than just somebody who's seeing and connecting with you in whatever manner that may be. And sometimes it doesn't always necessarily have to be, again, the flashy or very intense, sensual, or whatever way. Sometimes the dances can be goofy. Sometimes the dances don't have to involve all the oh yes, for sure. It can be goofy, or it can be slow. It can be simple. And I think that's another big thing about being a good dancer, is matching the level of your dance partner, and not necessarily just like their level of experience, but also just the level of energy. Just communicate with them. And when a conversation is one-sided, whether it's lead or follow, it's very obvious, and we can all see it.
There have been times when I have said, I'm like, oh my God, I'm really tired after being asked to dance. I'm like, I'm exhausted. Are you sure you want to dance with me? Because I can't give you the level that I think you might be expecting. And they're like, yeah, no, we're good. We'll be calm. We're going to have a good dance. And they actually mean it, and they follow through with that. It's calm, it's simple, And oh my God, sometimes those are some of my absolute best dances. I'm like, oh, that was just like gooey and felt amazing. And you didn't ask me to do a million things, but I still got to do all the movement I wanted.
Yeah.
And like sometimes those simple dances are just like your favorite thing for a whole night.
And I think having more of those dancers, that's what honestly sometimes even makes a good social. Like there's so many places that we can name here locally that a lot of people go to and have good dancers, but at the same time, like I don't feel like sometimes they're as fun to go to, because then, how many times have we gone to, we say a social name and we're like, oh, that's the place with all the people who like to show off or just don't connect or just whatever and stuff. And so I think we both equally would like to encourage everyone to just no matter where you go, just be a good person, I guess, essentially. And so getting even back into like your social and everything, I don't know if there's any other little things that you feel that, especially with like your event coming up, that I think us as attendees or people who are looking forward to attend your social or any other social, like what can we be conscious of for both being respectful of the space that we're given, and also just what we can do to support just, the promoters and hosts and DJs and everyone who puts these kind of events together.
Well, for mine at least, since it's really new, I personally really appreciate people to reshare, and it'll help me with the promotion as well as give you a chance to maybe not have to pay for entrance. When it comes to that, I know this is going to be a question for some people, but honestly, I don't mind being open and just saying that it's the social and the classes, my prices. No, I won't change it. Like I have to pay for the venue. I have to pay my DJs. I need to pay my teachers. I need to pay my helpers. I would love to have a photographer, and so I'd like to be able to pay for one of those on my next one. So basically, don't ask me to change the price, because honestly, right now I'm fronting money that for the social itself, I'm hoping to break even.
Yeah,
I won't even make anything. I think I might lose, but it's just like, at least for me, I can't speak for other organizers, but for me, it is about the community, and I'm trying to be fair about the price, but the way things are priced and everything, it's and the equipment that I want to buy for it in the future, I would need to keep my prices that way, and that's my reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and I think so often sometimes, especially because, again, being a little spoiled for those of us who have been dancing longer, we're used to only paying like $5-10 for an entrance.
Which is great.
Which
it
is
makes
great.
sense, especially at like a club, because those places, they normally, they make their money off the bar.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, I have no bar.
Yeah. And so we have to be conscious of like all the expenses that go into just even having the event ready for everyone to attend. And so like nothing's worse than getting that one person who shows up at the door and it's like, I know the event host. Can I please get in for free?
All right, I'm going to say something on this one. Because my other social, I would typically, after everything was done, like setting up, after I was done teaching and all that jazz, I would run the door at least half the time if I didn't have somebody else helping at my front door. And I can't tell you how many people, and it's funny because I think also as a female, you don't get as much acknowledgement as the male. So people didn't even know it was my event. And they're like, could I get, I should be on the list. I know the organizers. Really? What's your name?
Yeah. Present. How can I help you, sir? Because I have not heard of you or...
Yeah. And it's funny because like I've had family members help me out, and family members, they don't mind just telling me as it is.
Oh, yes.
So I've had family members tell me, oh yeah, your best friend who's known you for your whole life almost, or at least for so many years, said that that they're your friends and that they should get in for free.
No.
I was like, oh, really? Who's this best friend? Or actually, that wasn't even me. My mother was like, oh, really? What's your name? My mom's a sarcastic brat, and I love her so much for it.
Oh, she's the best.
But my mom would know you. She would know your name if you were either a really good friend or a best friend. She's like, I've never heard of you. That's my daughter.
Nothing's better than having somebody caught with their hand in the cookie jar. That's just so good.
And something I can say I appreciate of my friends, and it's also something I do. People are typically aware of how I am. If I'm not financially capable and someone's invited me as an organizer to come to something, I'd be like, thank you so much for inviting me. I can't make it. Like my honest reasoning is because right now, financially, it's not a good idea for me to go out and do. So I'm not going to do it. Or if they offer, they're like, oh, I would love for you to come in and have you come dance with people, because sometimes that's what organizers like, is they'll ask people to come in, or they'll offer a ticket or something. I don't know if people have heard of taxi dancers before, but taxi dancers are normally requested to come to a festival or something. They might be paid, or they just get a free pass, whatnot, so that they can help the community have fun at the dance, because they're higher level or at a decent level for new beginners to actually get to dance with someone who might typically ignore them, because that does happen, sadly. We know that happens. But so the same thing would be offered to me sometimes, but I don't ever go expecting. And my good friends have never showed up expecting that of me, which I really appreciate. I know you're one of them. Without question, they're like, oh, this is how much a social is? Okay, here you go. Whereas people I don't know, they're like, is there a really good discount? What if I do this? Or blah, blah, blah.
Trying to save every penny.
Or people offer to help, which is appreciated, and then they don't help afterwards. It's like, ouch. Thank you. I feel very used.
Don't think it doesn't go unnoticed. We not even just for the promoters and the hosts, the people setting up the events, but also just us as attendees. It's not fun to go to an event and see you leave your trash everywhere, or be the person behind you in line, seeing you try to ask for a discount that you clearly don't have, or any of the stuff. Like, those of us that care, we want to do our best to help and promote and do whatever we can to support. And it just doesn't feel right to see other people try to take advantage of that, because you work really hard for these kind of things. And especially with starting a new social, like, first of all, like you mentioned, it's a large cost. It's scary to start a new social.
Yes.
Because
beads of sweat. Yes, it's scary.
Because you had an event that you helped run for so many years, and feeling like you have to almost, as you mentioned a little earlier to me, starting from ground zero again. And
I am starting from ground zero again. The last social that I was a co-organizer for, I know I didn't create it, but I came in like earlier on from the get-go. I think 5 months in, maybe half a year in.
Yeah, it was pretty early.
Up until 7 years worth. Yeah. So it's like I basically did, okay, so 7 years, 6.5 years. It was my baby, and then now it's completely gone. I have no choice or say in anything on it. So it's just really sad. It's really hard to feel motivated. I do know I have a lot of friends that want to support me, and I appreciate that, and I want this to work out. I want my friends and I want the dance community to have a safe space to go to, try a new dance. Might be pushing that a little bit. I'm not ashamed. But I just want it to be a fun spot, a fun, safe space, because those are the things I like, and I would hope to create something new again that everyone else is going to like the same way.
Yeah. And so, obviously, as those of us that want to help and make this a success, and help this not only just be a one-off, but a consistent, wonderful social that we want to come back to again and again. Please share the event. Please show up for the classes or the socials and interact with people. Be respectful of the space. Don't expect to pay what to pay. And obviously, there's if you win a raffle ticket, great. You won a free ticket. You don't have to pay anymore. But there's still other ways you can support. It doesn't have to be money.
Take a piece of trash with you on the way out.
Help herd all the people out who are lingering for too long.
Go ask them to go to Denny's with you or something.
That's a good opportunity to bond. Make friends. Get them out of the building.
Let's go to the place that's still open. Let's go eat. Yes, go eat. Go eat.
Yes.
Filipino and me. Go eat.
Oh, goodness. So, but as scary as it is, I'm also, I'm very proud of you to start something new, and I'm very excited for you, because I know this will be a lot of fun, because obviously we know a lot of our friends are coming, but I'm looking forward to meeting anybody who's new, who hopefully comes out to just check it out, who's not the biggest bachata or kiss dancer, just because hopefully we can show that this is a safe space, this is a friendly space, this is a welcoming space for everyone, because we know it's not, especially with the kids community, like it's fairly new for a lot of people, and so we want the event to cater to as many people as possible. Do whatever you can to support, because especially, again, being a female host and an instructor, that can sometimes be a little challenging. Your voices can be drowned out or be unintentionally subdued
Or
less
intentionally.
yeah, or yeah, sometimes intentionally, unfortunately. And so, like, I mean, even with like your previous hosting experience, or even having reached out for like attending events and things like that, I mean, how's that also been kind of difficult, even now separating from being a duo and being a solo, like, or even when you were a pair, like what were things that sometimes were overlooked, even sometimes as a
I was often not reached out to at all. Not until like I would adamantly, if I was actually at an event or something, I would suggest like, oh, reach out to me because I'll get back to you about things because my partner would either be busy with something or whatever or handling other elsewhere. So I'm like, oh, that might not come to fruition if you're asking us to come over because maybe I didn't also know.
yeah.
But I know in a lot of cases it was all handled basically by the other partner because I don't know if they either didn't know to go to me or maybe they were told not to go to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't. And so one, it makes a partner feel like they can't do anything.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing coming to them to help with, even when they're like asking or offering. So that can be frustrating. I even found out after the partnership, it was like, oh, did you know that you were asked to come to this or you were offered to do this and blah, blah, blah. Like many other people have told me. And I'm really surprised by the number of things I found out that I could have had an opportunity for that never happened.
Yeah.
Because like nothing was done. Like there was no communication to finalize any of the things that we needed to have done to make sure that it actually happened. Or they were just told no. Without me even being consulted. And I was like, that's something I really would have wanted to do. I know that there's been a lot of talk, especially when it comes to like the females or partnerships in general. I think organizers of festivals and events and everything should be trying to reach out to both.
Yeah.
Just in case of that type of situation. That way, like, there's never, cause if you're going to be hiring somebody or a duo, you want to make sure that all bases are covered.
Yeah.
And that everyone is on the same page. So if you're going to be in social media discussions, so Instagram chats, messenger chats, you want everybody in there so that everyone knows what's happening and you're in agreement. That way no one can be out of the blue like, oh, I had no idea. Or like me, at one point I was at something and I was discussing some important information. And when I brought up the fact, they're like, oh, that's not what was discussed. That's not what was agreed upon. I'm like, oh, well, I was not on the same page as you then. So there's just complications. And you don't want those.
Each person is an individual person. Maybe sometimes you can't get both people, but again, maybe the other person can attend while the other can't. And, you know, it's always helpful to just be as communicative as possible with as many people involved as possible, because then you don't want anything to fall by the wayside and everything. Just, you know, it's also, again, you don't want to make anyone feel dejected or feel less than just because, you know, they weren't advised or contacted or just even informed about anything.
I feel like that's like the number one thing in the world, right? Communication. Why is that gotta be so hard?
At the very least, just please keep everyone who's involved informed. Please don't forget about anyone, especially our female instructors, or, you know, second half of partnerships. Please don't forget them. They're just as important to our community as all the male leads and everything. And so, I mean, again, having you now be your own, you know, solo host, you know, there's nobody that you have to share or wait on approval or anything like that. People can and should be coming to you for, you know, your event, or
and they do, and it's great. Like, yes, I have these answers. Yay! Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited for this social. I don't know if there's any other like little things that we haven't covered as far as like ways to support, or things that we should be aware of as far as like your upcoming event, at least.
I mean, if you can't attend and you want a friend to attend, I guess maybe you can surprise them with a ticket. I suggested that because somebody actually did that. I was like, oh, that's a new thing. So yeah, you want to do that? Like, let me know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I won't ask for things really, except for just be kind and courteous. But if people wanted to help, I won't reject it. Normally I'm very stubborn. But you guys are more than welcome to. I have now learned over the past like year and a half of self-development and friends being very kind and talking me through a lot of things. It's good for me to not reject.
Yes.
I don't need to be so stubborn and so independent, apparently. And even though, I don't know, I think it's okay. But yes, you guys want to help, you want to suggest something you want to help with, then by all means reach out. I don't mind. I won't be mean. I can apparently seem scary. I don't know why. I think it's just because I have a strong personality.
They can be intimidating.
Sure.
For people who don't understand that.
People who don't understand that, yes.
But again, yeah, you're a wonderfully friendly person, and you may not ask for things, but I'm going to ask for you. So please, everyone, just attend, bring as many friends as you can, share the event in whatever way you can. Again, there's little ways. Again, you can always reach out if you have some creative way to support either the social or Shiloh herself. You're more than welcome, and any bit is well appreciated. And I mean, if nothing else, yeah, I'm looking forward to showing up at your social, having a great time, and letting a new journey for a new social come in, and hopefully having a new place we can call the spot again.
Hey, the spot.
Yeah,
That'd be cool if it's called the spot. It will still be called Rendezvous, but technically, Rendezvous is the place you all want to go and meet up at. So it can still technically be the spot. Rendezvous. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Sorisa Dance podcast. I really do appreciate the support. If you enjoyed the conversation or took anything away, or perhaps if you have any suggestions for future episodes as far as topics, guests, or just any way to improve, this is our show. I really do want to take any encouragements or criticisms or any of that stuff. We'll grow together, and hopefully we'll have some interesting things to share. So please like, comment, subscribe, whatever you got to do to help support the show. It really means the world to me. And until next time, this has been Nick from the Sorisa Dance podcast, and I'll see you on the dance floor. Later, guys.